for splashing. Cartouche is maybe playable too. I don't know. I haven't played Cartouche. I've been playing away from this. But if we hit our other black payoff card that makes our opponent sack things, and then we get the value when they sack it, like maybe we can play that. Okay. I mean, we got an Obliterator, a Bontu, and a Massacre Worm, and a Knight of the Ebon Legion. A way to stack our graveyard. A black payoff. I mean, we're in good shape. A way to stack our graveyard. A card that brings our shit back out of the graveyard. So it's all very interesting right now. Joe. No spoilers, but I might later this evening get a little bit more Valheim with Kevin on stream. How did I get all these awesome black cards? Well, black and green were open, and I chose the worst cards from both of them for as long as I could, and then I had to take the good black cards because they wheeled. Isn't that how you draft? Yeah. Do not take oven. I don't care about oven. It's not the oven that you think it is. The oven that you think it is a 1 mana artifact that is 0 mana to activate. That's an artifact that is not that. It's okay. There's no cat in this. So that's a sick green card. But we aren't in green. Not really. I'm going to take this Woe Strider as the only card in mono black. Guess we could play Elixir, but Woe Strider's good. Yeah. Okay, more sick green cards. Nice black sacrifice synergy card. Okay, the scary part about these packs though is there's not a lot of black cards going around in them. Maybe we can splash cast out later. Gravebreaker and Aetherborn, both excellent in this deck, and our first piece of removal, black-white fixing, and a black draw card. Fuck. These are all excellent for us. I guess I try to wheel Gravebreaker and possibly take the Aetherborn here. It's not Castle. It's between this one, and this one. This one is just recently boosted in my mind as a card that I now am probably overvaluing. So it's probably, I think this card is excellent. And I think Bloodchief's Thirst is excellent too, but I like this card a lot. It also, there's some lifelink synergies in the black cards, like this guy. I want both those cards. And that card I really don't want. I mean, this is the type of deck, if we get a little bit more lifelink, this is the type of deck that would really benefit from it. But I think this is either Mauling or Intervention here. Probably Mauling, so we can play less. We're going to have plenty of gas at this point, so we can play less lands. We hope to wheel the Intervention, but we maybe take the Exquisite Blood if we get there. Shade's good here. I don't hate Traxos, but I guess we actually don't have a lot to activate it. We have almost none of the good artifacts. I don't like Predation, but it's okay. Shade sometimes wheels, but Shade's really good in this deck. So I guess I'll be happy if this wheels. I haven't seen this card wheel very much. I haven't really messed with hand destruction much in this deck, in this format. You've seen me pass 2 of them. I probably undervalue it a little bit. Any way to recur our vessel right now? Not yet. Well, kind of, I guess. I mean, do you see any other black cards in here, chat? Okay. Do we take a land or do we play Sword? Sword is very slow in this format, but these are tap lands. They're the worst types of lands. I have no reason to be in red or blue yet, although red is the one I'd take out of those. I hope to wheel the Canyon instead. Some Mythos for removal. There's a Binding. Oh man, I wish I could fit that in. I mean, if this were the same pack without Mythos, I'd take Binding and try to find green to splash it. But I'm happy with the Mythos. I need removal. So we did wheel the Elixir. We do have life gain synergies. There's some way that plays. It doesn't play nicely with the really nice life gain. Like you can't use this in Witch as we discovered, but it might just draw me cards. There's some sack synergies with the Devil if we think we're gonna get red, but we're pretty far from that. Are we gonna play this card? I doubt we're playing this card. Fixing, but we only need to fix if we splash. Card I might splash for. If we have white. It's kind of all removal. I'm going to take that. It's a tough one. There's the black-white duel. I don't want that. Oh, there's Lamia. Take Lamia. Did wheel the intervention. Didn't wheel the other one. It's fine. So getting paid off for the cards we're wheeling on. We have some speculation between Cast Out and Mayhem Devil. May or may not actually end up fixing. I don't know if I'm playing Sword right now. Stockpile is nuts. It's less nuts in this format than you would think. This format's very strong. So Stockpile has been very strong for me when I first was playing Magic a million years ago. Or not first on Arena. Can we do anything with this? I'm not playing that, so maybe. Think about that later. Sword of Body and Mind. Feed the Swarm. Predator. Have no evasive creatures right now. I got a lot of value creatures. I'd rather play Sword than Sigiled Sword, obviously. But I have a Mayhem Devil, and I really like Predator. Having sack synergies in black decks tends to be super stupid strong. So maybe we take this and try to find some red fixing. Hopefully we'll to feed the Swarm. Was there a Scavenger in there? I didn't even notice the Scavenger. But I'll take this thing. This thing has been like the best 4-drop creature that I can think of in this format. Maybe with the exception of Rashmi. This card is just really good. Alright, Demonic Pack. Wanderer fits this deck. Fatal Push fits this deck. Packed wheels a lot. There's some fixing there. No red-black fixing directly. Here's a Wanderer. It's another recursive threat to go along with our Shade. I'm happy with that. Doom Necro and Murderous Rider. Evolving Wilds, Abrade, and Call. Really nice green card. We could have a sick green deck, but we're getting a sick black deck, so I'm kind of okay. Rider is underperformed for me, but I still think it's the best card here. Necro wheels a lot. I mean, it's removal / a body that lifelinks. We don't have lifelink synergies yet. Dude, an Elder Gargareth. We could have the sickest fucking green deck. Alright, do we want a Citadel, which likely wheels but might not? A Nightmare is situational removal that's very strong some of the time. Eliminate, which is pretty fucking excellent. Actually, CMC3 is pretty good. Or Disfigure. I think I'm on Disfigure. Hope to wheel the Citadel. Got top end already. I mean, sometimes this doesn't do anything. Black green fixing, another recursive threat. A Gary. Crystalline Giant. They're all good. Don't need green fixing. Need red fixing. Gary's a nice finisher, but not majorly exciting. Resembling Skeleton is okay, but we have other recurring threats, and this is the least threatening of the threats. I think I have Giant here, honestly. This card just sometimes wins the game, just single-handedly. We're not so big on the drain synergies. We don't have any of the artists. We don't have the enchantment. Our only drain is currently coming out of Ayara. So I take the Giant. Giant is overperformed in every format I've ever seen it in, including this one. I'd love to wheel Bone Splitter Axe. There's a Gutter Bones. Do I have enough sticky creatures that the Bone Splitter first is better than the Gutter Bones first? Gutter Bones is probably my least favorite of these after Skeleton. Like there's 5 of them, right? I think I ranked this 4 of 5 with Skeleton 5 of 5. We don't have red mana yet for Predator, so we might not be playing it. I'm gonna take the Bone Splitter Axe. Those don't wheel very often. These cards aren't playable. And our colors. I mean, I can play Mountains, I guess. Is that a red? Ah, dude. Never red black. Dude, Gilded Goose is pick 8 in here. Arch is okay. I'll take Village Rites. Feed did wheel. So did Scavenger. Do we want Enchantment Hate or do we want another recursive body? This one's pretty good. Okay. Skeleton Archer and low rank constructed. Skeleton Archer is pretty bad. We never are playing any of these. Do we have enough 5-drops that this card matters for us? It's odd. Sometimes that's pretty fucking good for us. We're not Demonic Impact, and we're not Golden Egging without more. I mean, maybe. I don't think I'm playing red at all, though. I just don't think we got there. We have enough playables outside of red. Necro basically does call, although it's a body first. It's a little bit more selective. Citadel wheeled. Skeleton and Gary wheeled. All right. Isn't the argument this post most people have Goose, so most people have fixing, so Goose would wheel? No, Goose isn't a fixer. It's an accelerant slash fixer slash blocker slash life gain machine. It's the best of the accelerants in my opinion, with maybe Paradise Druid being the other one. They're both really similar in power level. Goose is insanely flexible. No one picked black cards. We cut black fairly hard after we picked green a couple times for trolling purposes. All right. So what did this deck come out to be? We don't have cheap white fixing. We're a little light. I don't know about passing the feed for the Scrounger. It might have been overkill for our recursion. We can't play Devil or Predator easily. We'd like some more sack outlets, but we don't really have them. I think Obosh is the weird pick here, but we have good 5s, good 3s, and some 1s. So part of me is kind of like, we might actually get fucking value out of Obosh for once. So we'll see. I doubt I'm playing Sigiled Sword. We're still 7 over. I doubt I'm playing Vessel. I'm not playing Animation Module. I tried not to overpick removal, but Trial still might be there. Our removal is what? Intervention, Trial, Disfigure. We didn't get Recursion. I have to think about Crypt Breaker. Reaver's pretty weak. Has sack synergies with our deck, but what doesn't have sack synergies in this deck, honestly? Mauling's a land. We're not playing white or blue. So here it hurts us a little bit not to see the castle come back, although I think we got something better than the castle, and it would have been nice to have the arch, although 10 permanents is a lot. I am playing Blood for Bones in this deck. I am playing Gravebreaker, Bontu, and Grey Merchant. Obosh is a question mark, but it's probably a yes. Playing Worm, I'm not sure about Citadel, but it's probably a Citadel deck. We have early life gain. Some more little small amounts of life gain stuff. Okay. You like this mana base, Sam? I like my lands to do more things in Cube than just be swamps, because floods are brutal. I think mono black floods a lot, honestly. So we need 5 cards out. Reaver seems really bad to me. 5 cards out here? I don't want to put fucking 5 cards out of this deck. All right, we might have to go back to thinking about what else we're cutting here. So Bone Splitter with recursive creatures is great. We're never cutting any of these. Village Rites is a maybe, but I really feel like we have flood issues. All of those stay. Doom Necro isn't super strong. So we ended up with Mythos and Murderous Rider for removal everywhere. Disfigure for some combat tricky cheap removal. I don't think the rest of these cards can be removed from this deck. So I think it's actually here. And we get to add 4. I did notice Flame Dance. Yep, we just do lands last. Generally, I just add them. All right. So stacking our graveyard gets what payoff from Crypt Breaker? I mean, we can generate value by discarding cards like Scavenger or Dread Wanderer for the first time, but it's unlikely we'd rather do that than just cast them if they're in our hand. It's more value, but less long-term value. I don't think Crypt Breaker is good enough in here. We do have Blood for Bones for taking advantage of a stacked graveyard, but generating 2/2s for 2 mana is probably not good enough here. I find Intervention to be extremely flexible to the point that I might consider playing it over Disfigure. They might have been in the same pack. I guess I've never really thought about it that way, but what does Disfigure do for us? It's 1 mana removal, 1 mana combat trick, which I really like. But it also is removal for something like Hallow Blade or the Vanguard, right? Or the Gods. I think it's better than Disfigure, actually. So I don't know about Disfigure. Let's just swap Disfigure for Intervention first. I mean, it costs me 3 mana to do the same amount, but a lot of times the 1 is good enough. So we'll think about that. Some life gain, but we don't have any life gain synergy, so it's not really relevant, the life gain portion of it. Gary has pretty heavily underperformed for me. So there's a part of me that just wants to be like, fuck Gary. We might be able to play this on 16 lands. Our curve ends at 5. I actually think we can probably go down to 16 lands here. We did not end up getting the god that makes sacrifice relevance. We're not playing Trial. We're not playing Reaver. We still get 5 cards in here. I think with 5 cards in, this deck starts getting pretty good. Like it's something like Citadel. Do we have enough threats on 1 and 3 that Obosh is interesting? I think we do. Ghost Rider, Murderous Rider, Ayara, Crystalline Giant, Knight, Dread Wanderer, Lamia, God Eternal, and Gary. I think Obosh is good here. How many zombies do I have for the Crypt Breakers drawing? Like 2 maybe? Zombie God, Zombie Knight, that's 3. 4 off Dread Wanderer. Maybe that's enough. It's a fair point. It's a fair point. I think here I'm happy to play Disfigure as well. We need still 2 cards in. Do we really play 16 here? If we play 17, it's easy. If we play, I think I like Crypt Breaker plus Village Rites. And I got to be reminded that Crypt Breaker has more text on it, because that alone might be good enough. Why is Gary called Gary? Because it's easier than calling him Gray Merchant of Asphodel, you know? It just flows off the tongue a little bit better. And also, Gray rearranged as Gary, you know? So he's just called Gary for that reason. So currently, Doomed Necro doesn't make this deck. Is that okay? Wait, I don't have that 4 card lose the game card in my deck, right? I didn't even draft it? Okay. You can't get behind 15.5 lands in this deck when we have 6 plus 5 mana cards. Really? I'm not sure. I guess we don't accelerate mana. And I would like to play Mauling. The problem is I flood a lot in mono black. Like I find that tends to be the type of deck that I run out of value in, because all your black removal 1-for-1s, and it's often difficult to generate card advantage. Kind of want Doom Necro in my deck, and I'm undecided about more lands. 16 is kind of equal to 17 almost with the I don't know if this is really a Bolas' Citadel deck. This card feels like a bit of a meme. We don't have a ton of shit out there. Yes, we're mono black. Yes, we have some lifelink. But what if we cut Citadel, added Necro, and kept 16 lands? Cuts our top end down. It's flood protection if we're way ahead on life, but if you're flooding, aren't you always behind on life because you're fucking trading? Or rather, getting beat down as you can't value trade because you don't have any fucking cards. It's like a really expensive Frenzy in a deck that really can't Frenzy. Never cut Citadel, it's a win more con. Oh, you said win con. Yeah, I agree. Citadel's a win more con. I think we do this. Am I happy enough with this? So Doom Necro is recursion for Obliterator and Massacre Worm. It's also a body. It's not a zombie. Triggers a Yara. Creature count's pretty high in this deck, like a nice amount. Yeah, 18 with 1 Bone Splitter. Seems pretty good. A lot of recursion, a lot of things we wouldn't mind exiling. Source of card draw do we have? Can sack creatures to a Yara or Priest for some card draw. We have Village Rites as a defensive card draw. And that's basically the card draw in this deck. This is why I'm really worried about flooding. All right, I do this. You'd cut Bone Splitter for a land. I really disagree with that. Really highly disagree with that. So the problem with this piece of equipment This piece of equipment is a 1 mana equip for +2/+0, which is fucking monstrous, right? The biggest issue with equipment is sometimes you don't have enough creatures to regularly equip them, or the equipment isn't powerful enough or is too slow and clunky. This equipment is not slow and clunky. We have recurring creatures, so creatures with Skyclave, Scrounger, and Dreadwanderer. We're always recurring creatures, so we never miss a target for this, and this is really light mana to equip. I feel like it takes these threats that sometimes get blanked by like a 4/5 or a fucking 2/4 or something, and it makes them unblankable with Bone Splitter. So I really highly disagree with cutting Bone Splitter from this deck. It just feels like exactly the type of deck that wants a Bone Splitter. Now, maybe some decks it's not high enough power level, but I don't think land is higher power level than Bone Splitter in this deck. Some advice to ponder on: winning on 1 life is the same as 100,000 life. You thought that I didn't realize life was a resource in Magic, and you're pointing that out? I mean, you're not wrong. But this card can't be 6 mana, pay 8 life when you're at 7 life to cast 2 creatures off the top of your deck, right? It just isn't value enough. Like if we had a large amount of lifelinks, or we were going very wide, we could take advantage of the second part, or we had acceleration where we're likely to get this out early when our life total is still high. All of those things would kind of push this a little bit more forward for me. But I look at this deck and I'm like, all right, Bolas is kind of memey here, but we have a top end. We have other game plans to win. We don't have to value with that. We don't have other flood protection necessarily, not a lot anyways, but this card is not really going to fix that anyways, right? So I don't know. I don't feel like this is a deck for Bolas. All right. You think, I mean, Bone Splitter on evasive creatures fine, but if we have to, like, but mono black has to go through them, right? Since we don't have those evasive creatures, and again, like, that helps me. I really highly disagree. I think we have MVP. All right. What do you guys think? Can we get 5 on this deck, chat? Okay. You cut Obosh for Lazotep. Would another 2-drop be nice? We have a lot of 1s and a fair amount of 3. Another 2-drop isn't the worst. Reaver's a body in the graveyard that I don't hate exiling, and it's also a sacrifice thing that I don't hate sacrificing. It's also a zombie for Crypt Breaker count. I don't know, man. Obosh. I feel like this is the deck for Obosh, though. When we have 3 and 5 and 1 drops that do something. Okay. Yeah, you're not wrong, Morgathoan, right? Like, and I really appreciate, hold on. Let me just put this up. I want to hold up Morgathoan for a second. I appreciate the way that which you have offered pushing a card that you would like in this deck, or you personally would play in this deck. I appreciate the way you presented that, right? It comes off as trying to have a conversation about it as opposed to pushing an outcome that you want. And I really appreciate that. It's like the opposite of backseating. So thanks, man. Are we 16 lands? We are 16 lands right now. Mono black has been really floody for me. Do we need Gary? I know we're mono black, and Gary feels like he's best in mono black. I would consider Gary for a Reaver. This card is often do nothing for me. Although Gary with the Bone Splitter acts as a 4/4, which isn't terrifying. I mean, rather, which is quite a bit better than nothing. 2/4s are just so bad. We have a lot of Black Devotion. We have a lot of Black Devotion when we get creatures to stay on the board. Does that happen? No, but Tactical Therapist is counting Hagris. There's 16. I'm just playing a 16 land deck with this. Zam is arguing for 17 here. And all right, so let's talk about land count. Ready? So here's the conversation that's going on in my head. And probably a lot of you are on the same page as me, but maybe some of you aren't. So let's have that conversation. So Zam's point is this. We have 4 5 drops, a 6 drop, and 2 4 drops. So what do lands do? Lands give you color sources. So you need an adequate amount of colored sources to cast the cards you're casting. But in a mono black deck, it's rarely colored sources that's the problem for us. You need land count to cast the higher mana cards you're casting. And lands are, of course, a dead card when you're not getting them as resources, right? So in our head is this conversation. Do we have enough lands to cast our early game? Yeah. Do we have enough colored sources to cast our early game? Yeah. Do we have enough colored sources to cast the lands, the cards that we want in the time period we want them roughly? Yeah. So I'm never worried about most of the things that lands do in a mono black deck here with this land base, right? So the question is, do we have enough lands total on average to cast our cards at roughly the curves they're supposed to be? And as you get a heavier curve, like a higher top end, the more lands you need to do that. So looking at this, do we have a lot of top end? We don't have many 4s. We're mostly happy to play in the 3s. We do have some 5s and we have 1 6. This is why I like cutting Bolas's Citadel again, right? It's another top end that we can make it for an earlier one. Like, this card's situational. Bond 2 we kind of want to slam as possible. Massacre Worm's a little situational. We probably want to play Mauling as a removal, but sometimes we won't be able to. That's the advantage of playing that. With hand smoothing on 16 fucking 16 lands in Arena, best of ones, I feel like we can have a game a lot of the times on 3 lands. And sometimes we're gonna miss our 5 drops a little bit. But I feel like the number one way I lose on mono black is I flood. I don't draw enough value to keep playing the game. And in part because mono black seems to trade so evenly, right? Resource for resource with not a lot of card draw kind of deal in between. So I kind of don't want to run too many lands because it's the flood versus screw stuff. But I have a lot of things to do in the early game if I am screwing, right? So there's an argument for that 17th land, but I'm okay with the 16th land here too, I believe. Right, like this card's situational later. It's just like a lot of my stuff I don't have to resolve my 5s on 5 to win here. Yeah. There is a curve for it too. There's a really, really nice curve. It's linked in my channel somewhere. I just never fucking remember the command. So we're gonna play this. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, number of color courses and number of lands that hit land drops. That's the one. The second one of those. What is this? This was, the command is MTG mana. That's a really good one. All right. So you just scroll down and look at this. Lands in deck running. We need this to be, this is the limit. There's limited decks. Lands in deck at 16. So, I mean, hold on. If I can cancel this still, I'll bring this up. I'll pull this up on screen. We'll work through that last little bit together. It's probably tedious for some of you, but it's worth thinking about here, right? So let me just grab the, I'll show you guys here. And really, you're trying to carry around like a simplified version of this in your head all the time. What is this fucking thing called? There we go. This one. Okay. All right. Let's turn this on here. All right. So here's what we're looking at, right? With 16 lands in a 40 card deck, this is your probability of 5x5, right? So 4x4, we're looking at, this is draw versus play. So 7. Okay. So this is looking at this. Do we need to cast our 5 drops on curve? If we do, 50% of the time we will, 64% of the time when we're on the draw for them 16 lands here. We get this percentage change here to going to 17. I don't know what his flood criteria is. I'm sure he's put that in there, but I'm okay with that. With 16 lands as well, 90% of the time we'll be able to play our turn 3 drops even on the play. 95% of the time on the draw we'll be playing our 3 drops. Like our 1, 2s, and 3s are strong enough that I think I can support this, especially when I'm only getting a slight return on that. So I'm okay with this. Wait till those counters. Okay. Correct. Flame Dance. So it's all, I mean, all of these things are essentially, what's the word I'm looking for? Small percentages either way. So some of the times we'll still get land screwed even with this stuff, right? It's just the world. And that's with actual legit mana. All right. So here we only have 2 lands, but we have 3 plays that we can make, including a 1 and a 2, which seem really good for us. It's closer to 15 lands given 1 is tapped. No, it isn't. We're talking total land count to not make it to number 5. The tapped land portion of that's pretty irrelevant for that, right? Neither of these cards can block. Is the 3-1 or the 3-2 better here? I'm probably playing lands on curve at the moment. I don't really know that it matters. Maybe this gets in more. If he has a 1-drop, we block that too. Okay. I'm not sure it matters here, which is better. Shade has a little bit more convenient recursion. Maybe that would have been better. I don't know. I have to recast the fucking thing though. It's not enter the battlefield. Okay. By the way, chat, we're immediately land screwed on 16. Okay. All right. Your third or fifth land is tapped. You didn't make it 3 or 5. Oh, Zam, I like having the conversation, but at some point the conversation is dead, right? Like we looked at the percentages. I've evaluated those percentages and said I'm fine with that trade-off. If you're not fine with that trade-off, at that point, that's the subjective call on that, right? I'm okay with making that particular trade. All right, somehow not drawing lands again. Do I even want him to be able to block? I think removal is better than anything else here. All right, it's going to be kind of funny when we lose to a land screw on the first time, but again, I mean, what were those odds? Where's the link? The MTG, there's a second one there. What were their odds on this? I mean, how many lands has it been? 1 million? Gearhulk's pretty bad for us. I don't want him to stabilize on this board. He's currently stable, so I can't draw fucking cards. There's one. Did I just recast Shade here? So many options here, actually. I can recast Shade. I can cast Woe Strider. Woe Strider's not better than Shade on this board, except that I get scries off sacrifices. I'm going to need Mythos to get through something like a 5-6, so I don't think I can use that here. Unlocking Gary wins us the game. I think this is swing, see about his blocks, and recast Shade is what I'm thinking I'm doing here. Okay. All right. You have to read the article. The article talks about that. Control Shift T is open last tab. Uh-oh. My porn viewing will never be the same. Fucking Gary. Or Gonti, I guess. Oops. You're okay, Gary. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to call you out like that. So Dreadhorde is currently a clock for him. Can play out 2 attackers here again. We're just trying to build count. I feel like this is counter mana, but he may or may not be running counter spells here. He's clearly very blue-black. The problem with Obliterator is all the black stuff deals with it cleanly. He could maybe even sacrifice his fucking Dreadhorde, which would be bad news for me. I think this is just play Shade again. And we're going to end step the Scrounger back into play. We'll eat the Dread Wanderer, even though it's a card potentially we want value out of. Wasn't Gary without attacking lethal? It would be if I could cast Gary. Gary costs 5 mana. I have 4 black sources in play and no other sources of mana. And was Gary lethal without attacking? 3. Not quite. Okay. So now he can sack his own Dreadhorde. Maybe he'll swing. No. Alright. Land there is 3 and he's just dead, right? We'll do that. Alright. Got there on a pretty serious land screw because we have so much to do before turn 4, which is kind of one of the things we're banking on. So pleased with that win. Okay. I'm not sure we should have kept attacking into the 1-1. I'm not sure with the 2 1s and 3 1s. So. Alright. God, Gary. Chat, it's so reactive, right? It'd be like reactive to be like, filthy, all that discussion you had about your mana base, no good. You only drew 2 lands. Yeah, that happens a percentage of the time. But no, you don't love Gary because he won the game on that one game. Gary, I don't love Gary because he sits in my hand like 99% of the time. Okay. All right, 2 lands again, of course. You only played Gary in multicolored decks. No, I only play him in black decks because there's no fucking way I'd ever put this card in a non-black deck. It's because in this format for me, my experience with mono black has been a lot of flooding and a lot of 1-for-1 trading. So I rarely have big boards in mono black, so Gary tends to get less value. And I rarely have, I rarely get to play all my cards because or rather, rarely have good value. Everything trades, so get it right, Gary, not wrong. Oshbosh has synergy with Gary. I know I put this card in my deck for my 1, 3, and 5 synergies, including Gary. Yep, I'm excited to see Obosh. I called him Oshkosh because I lived in Oshkosh for a couple years. Lose life, not damage? Really? Uh-oh. Doesn't work then. RIP! Then I guess it's just 2-4. All right. Okay. Still have other good 1, 3, and 5s with that. Gary, you won me 1 game, but you just failed me a game here. Less flexible, but cheaper, but I have nothing else to do with my mana this turn, so a disfigure is fine here. Okay. No, he's gonna have my fucking axe. No mana, nice. Okay, he drops a 4/4 on the board next turn. That was pretty bad. Green mana open. He can definitely pump it. I can't do anything about that though. So we'll try to gain max life here. Okay. Scary card, can definitely take over the game from here. Tap land here is a little bit annoying. Can remove one of the 2/2s. Can see if he wants to crew it. I could just wait and kill it as well. So here he blocks with a 2/2 every time, right? Are we okay trading off our 1 loyalty or 1 devotion? Yeah, I think there's a large portion of the time where if we don't kill that, we lose the game. Maybe he doesn't block 1 time because he goes to 4. It's possible. Okay. I can't let the chariot just spawn endless tokens. We'll lose. no rebirth that would have mattered here. He can't crew off that. Shit, chat. Are we killing a 7/7 tap creature, or are we killing the 2/2 token? Currently, Chariot's a little less scary if he can't... I mean, the 7/7 is going to beat us to death. But the token is both a blocker, although not that we can do anything about it, and potentially something he can clone. If he can't clone, the Chariot's a lot scarier. It still is ETB, attack me, but I can't hold up mana. So it kind of has to be kill one of these this turn. The token's not going to matter. That's not true. Alright, killing that. Neither and keep our options open? No, I can't do that because of something like this, right? Where I actually have to play fucking cards so I don't lose the game. If I had drawn another unplayable card, then maybe. It's got to be the... I mean, I was hoping to get the crude Chariot. But the Chariot's scary because it takes over the board when he has a token on the board that he can clone. He might not have another token generator. I hate removing a 2/2 like that, but it's okay. I could have been talked into killing Traxos as well, but he may not have a way to untap that. He's got a pretty nice scripted turn with the Beanstalker Giant into the Chariot to crew it kind of deal, though he can't now do that because he won't have a blocker. But he is very likely setting up to play that. Banefire for 5 on that is fine too. He passes his turn. We'll Gary onto an open board. It's not exciting, but it's okay. Could also... No, I can't. Okay. Okay. Traxo is still not doing anything quite yet. Well, that's the question. The question was, what did we kill? Do we kill Traxos as a future threat that beats us? Or do we kill the token as a future threat that beats us? Or do we ignore it? Quite happy with this turn. I like having a 4/4 on the board versus that. Death Toucher, a 4/4, trades with both those well, and a 2/1. Alright, so we can start swinging with the Aetherborn next turn. Probably eats the Chariot, which isn't super exciting. Chariot's a really nice package, Joe. It's a... If it manages to do whatever... If no one can contest it on the board, it will win the game on its own. But it also comes with enough tokens to crew itself and has some cool interactions with cloning other tokens. It's just a really nice dude. Can I recur Gary? Yes. Oh, do you think I could have killed him last turn because I missed it? I think you're right, Flame Dance, actually. Because this is a trigger of 6. What are we at? 5? So we're actually 1 off with this. Huh, it's interesting. So what does he have now? He's got 2 blockers. He has to crew with the Beanstalk, which he's probably happy to do anyways. So I want total, this is 7. So let's say I sack this, sack this to get that in, that's 2, right? So now we're at 2, 4. This is 6. I think I can do it from here, right? If he doesn't have interaction. I just have to have the mana to cast one of them. Oh no, it's still fucking 5. Is there a way to do that? I don't think there is. I can't get any more devotion on the board, right? No. Oh man. Alright, what else can we do here? We can attack with the 2/3. He probably chumps with Chariot. It's not that exciting for us. Chariot's not an extra blocker. Do I want to trade Aetherborn for a Chariot? Get chumped, I guess. I think we need to get in one more hit here. Feels like maybe waiting and getting one more devotion is okay too. There's some world in which we get to go around this. We don't ever want to unlock that Beanstalk Giant. If he draws a fucking historic, Traxos untaps, and then we have a 10-10 and a 7-7 sitting there, which is pretty bad. Okay, well, opponent made the wrong play, so that's exciting. Alright, so we're good to kill him next turn, I believe. So right now, if we rebirth, it's just... Well, we sack Gary to bring back Gary and kill him. I guess that's okay. Now, you could have instant speed interaction or remove my Aetherborn would suck. So we'd only get him for 2. We potentially win the game here. Turn a creature to the battlefield. That one. Turn a creature to my hand. That one. Okay. Does it count itself for devotion? Sure. But remember, chat, he was at 6. My devotion was 5 previously. So if he hadn't taken the 2, we don't kill him with that. Okay. Attack with all. Blood for bone Gary. Attack with all. Well, if I attack with all and he blocks Gary with the Beanstalk Giant and or with I guess the other one, but it's probably the Beanstalk Giant, trades off, he might crew. I don't think so. We force 2 damage through. He goes to 4, we lose all of our devotion. So then our drain is only best case scenario 3 and more likely 2. Do we even have a creature to sack? We do. So what happens there? So attack with all, he crews the 4/4 off, if he's smart, crews the 4/4 off the 10/10, blocks the Aetherborn, but he might not. He might not want to trade there and chumps the other one. I don't know. There's a lot of lines there. I'm not sure. The problem is if I lose devotion there, Gary's nuke is lesser. So yeah. You don't move axe, you can bring back Wanderer if it's dead. Okay. Wanderer has 1 black devotion. Still. So it's still a 3-point drain. I'm not sure. I chose the line that kills in the turn after, with less ability for our opponent to play around it, and it seemed to be okay. He did some weird block and we punished him anyways. But there's quite a lot of lines there, right? We're on a timer, but we're not sure how long the timer is because it depends how often he can activate Traxos and how long before he feels comfortable swinging with that Beanstalk Giant. We do want to pressure his life total as aggressively possible. We have the reusable resource of the Bone Splitter Axe and the Dread Wanderer. And the one in hand to rebirth the Gary for drain. He's got 2 blockers. The thing is, the problem with attacking him is that his blockers are all conditional, right? So like he has 2 creatures on the board, so he can only block 2 there, but he can trade Chariot for one of my blockers to still have 2 the turn after, which doesn't change his total number of blockers. Opponent's on 4 colors on turn 4. Okay, all basics. It's a little rough. Flooding pretty hard here. Okay. I don't love leaving Paradise Druid up there, but I suspect that the way the cards he pulled makes me think he has the colors he cares about here, so I'm not thinking I'm getting rid of his fixing. I was hoping to get value out of end step killing something. I wasn't really expecting him to play nothing this turn. I felt with 4 cards in his hand, 5 mana in play, and a Paradise Druid, he would play a creature here, but he hasn't. I guess he's going to exile my Scrounger. Kind of sucks. Do I blow it up in response to keep it in the graveyard? I could. I guess I just kill the Paradise Druid and cast. Oh, that's fine. Is that card killable? Nope. Okay. Resolves. Do I have an exile? Does that card just beat me? It might. mean, we're doing very reasonable things with our mana, but we don't have that kind of thing going on over there. What is that last card? Is it Ooze? It's Ooze, man. Thragtusk, Ooze. Ronos off that. Maybe I should have killed the Paradise Druid on that first turn. Maybe. I think we are in trouble on this one, chat. It's a good one. Is there a line of play that we can take that's more defensive? I don't hate Obosh. Attack with both. He's going to try to exile the Scrounger. It's annoying, but I think versus his deck it's not going to be that relevant. Maybe it's relevant for my Priest. I'm not sure Priest survives around, and it's really mana inefficient. I can't do anything else. What are we on right now? 3 or 2? Or 4 rather. We're on 4. So we get a 5 this turn. Okay. Don't like any of my plays here. All right. What's the power on Ronos to attack? 4? Not expecting Crop Captain from this deck. It doesn't really feel like the right card for this line. I guess he's just pure tricolor off basics. Okay. We're just dead on board. That's a strong series of plays from our opponent. That sequence looks like it probably beats me. So we can absorb 5 of that 7, and we take 5, 7, 12, 16, 19, 22. Even after we block the Ronos. The next best card we can drop block is the 5/4 is the next highest amount of damage. Okay. I'm really surprised to see a Crop Captain in that deck, right? Like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, why is it in this fucking deck? Alright. Well, that is a nice series of plays from our opponent in a row. We probably don't ever win that game. Ever. I wonder how consistent his deck is. Does he have sources of fixing? Or is he just playing Naya with a 2-drop, 1 white, 1 red card, a 2-drop green card, and a shit ton of ramp? Okay. Last card, Heroic Reinforcements, is crazy good there. Where he not only, I mean, that gives him +2 to all of his creatures for damage that turn, including all of the creatures that came into play that turn, of which there were 3, 4. Not so turn, man. That is a cool story game. Cool deck, bro. Okay. He's in white for Heroic Reinforcements. May as well be in for Suncrop. Not how that works. When you splash cards, you care about when they come into play. This is an interesting draw here. We're going second. We get 1 more draw to make a decision about it. Do we play Mauling on 1? We have a 1-drop. We have a 2-drop. We have a 3-drop. Opponent mulled to 5. Playing red, green, something else. We have another play now. I'd love to get Crystalline Giant involved early. I don't have... So, here's our first real decision of the game. Do I believe we can get a third black land? We don't have to get it by 3, but we have to get it by 4. Or maybe 5. We have 2 2-drops to play and a 1-drop. I think I just play out the Crypt Breaker. Do I even play Crypt Breaker here? Do I care about the damage? I care about the mana dork that I can kill. Actually, I'm going to pass there. I'm not sure that's right or not. I want to hold this. I don't know what cards he's playing, but I'm scared. That's annoying. Drawing a 1-drop here is kind of annoying too. Should have been Scrounger for this guy. It's a mistake. It's 4. Oh, it's 4 more. Doesn't matter. Okay, never mind. Phew. Okay, Lifelinker. Okay with not playing Crypt Breaker on 1. I don't think it changes the game very much for having him on 1, and I liked holding up mana for remove a mana dork because I know I'm not going to have the ability to remove a mana dork on 2 without seriously fucking my plays. I think this should have been the beater, although here, dude, 2 opponents cultivate on 3. Feels bad. Feels bad. Did miss that land. Do have things to do. I kind of need mauling. The guy's fucking ramping, but what are these colors? This is Golos, red, green, white, blue. Haven't seen black. Doesn't mean there isn't some. If he drops Golos here, we have no answer besides this. We don't have 4 land. I guess this is now, unfortunately, time to develop. This is a tap land. We'll play out this guy. Have some options next turn. We can giant pre-combat. We have some interaction if he plays something small. We have a growing threat if he doesn't put much in the way of board. Here, I'd love to have my removal. Did ramp into a creature at the end of all that. That's a nice top deck. I feel like each of our decisions has been punished differently, and that's exciting. The worst would be if it was just the same punish, you know? If it's Paradise Druid, I won't even be able to kill it. You're true. That's correct. But if it's any of the other mana dorks, of which there's like 4, I could have killed it. So, you, sir, have made a point. That simultaneously is true, but not a very good point. So, sure. I think we hit the fucking Planeswalker here. Alright, hit our 4th drop, land drop, finally. It's gotta be giant this turn. Alright, pre-combat giant, get it drawing. Go to combat. Okay. Swing on his Planeswalker. Crypt Breaker or a Knight here? I think it's a Knight. Okay. Why not move Tristani at remove Tristani at instant speed? Because I didn't have 3 mana, so I can't. Why not have extra mana on the board? Because the game doesn't work that way? What do we get, by the way? Trample. There's the Golos. I already had the Field of the Dead, hit the Golos, got the 3 mana ramp, hit Tristani on 5. We're playing the same deck we just played against. It's pretty bad for us. Alright, Giant, bring us home. Okay. Oh, you mean prior to attacks? Because he might block with the Tristani, and I don't want to lose the damage. I want to eat the tokens. Maybe he would have blocked 1 with each. He's never blocking this with Tristani. So maybe he would block the 3-2 with Tristani plus the 1-1, but he probably doesn't. Maybe I could have waited. I don't know if it matters. Kind of liked getting his tokens off the board. Let's see. So what is this? Cards are pretty bad here. So we should go to this 5 matter. This can pump once, can become a 4-5. Get 2 2-2s out of this. It's pretty rough. We have a Disfigure. We can still possibly blow it up. We need flying on this. Alright, what do we get? We got Trample and First Strike. It's probably not good enough quite yet. This is going to hold off Golos attacking. Can I attack with this card? So he's going to gang block it. And if he gang blocks with 2, he should really gang block with more than 2. I think it's a waste of my mana. Doom Necro versus Murderous Rider. I think it's pretty irrelevant. Okay, we're one zombie off tapping. Okay. Update to the economy guide? Nope, no update to that. Yeah, I could have declared attacks and done that. The upside of that is I surprise shrink all of his creatures. The downside is he has Tristani as a blocker. I guess if he blocked Aetherborn, it's fine. If he blocked the other guy, it might have been fine. Oh, he's Golos activation, man. I didn't even notice. I can't interact with Golos. When I forced on turn 3 to play this as a land, I was feeling like I'm in a lot of trouble because if he does drop Golos with Golos mana, I'm fucked. So I think we're gonna lose here. This would be a good Gary board eventually. Permanents he controls gain hexproof and indestructible. It's pretty annoying. Okay. They don't gain vigilance though, so something there. You can swap the landing.
You are braver than you know.
Alright, so nothing matters for damage here. I'm not expecting pumps out of him. Let's gain life. I can only gain life. We do damage to indestructible, it just doesn't kill them, right? So like that, I guess. What's his mana base? Untapped is 1 planes right now. He's got plenty untapped. There's all sorts of damage base removal that fucks me here. I'm not going to give him free damage though. I'm already taking a lot here. Okay. Okay. Trample, first strike, reach. 3/3 is relevant on this board, so it's 2/3. I want 5 mana this time. He can't block that without me pumping, so I'm going to attack with that. And probably that. No lifelink yet. One zombie off gaining cards. Okay. It's 4 damage. He avoids that. Doesn't get to grow. That's okay. Alright. Alright, cast this out. Probably doesn't do a lot on this board. Am I also running out Doom Necro? Just gonna activate Golos again. I can't really fucking beat Golos right now. I think better than Doom Necro is just getting another zombie on the board for draws, right? Alright. Okay. Imagine letting him activate Golos and he hits Cruel Reality off Golos because Cruel Reality's in his fucking deck here. Give me a break. I mean, I guess it's just sacks, but it's still really annoying. Okay. When is it? Beginning of an upkeep. I wonder if I can upkeep. Can I tap in response to that? I probably can. Why didn't he attack with that, man? Like, he can cast that whenever he wants, right? It's a flash creature. He's going to attack this turn, presumably. Alright, what's his open mana? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Could have really killed that in response. Maybe I should have. How do I now play with the board, chat? I want to tap 3 untap zombies. Tap 3 untap zombies. Okay. Let's go to combat. Finally flying. Don't see any reach creatures. He's tapped out. Seems okay. He's gonna get another Golos activation. Can't do anything about that. Really have to get 1 more damage. Only way to get 1 more damage is to sack things with Priest though, which I don't think I want to do. Okay. So let's drop this. We're gonna rebirth Scrap Heat Scrounger this turn. And we're probably needing to draw deeper again when we can as well. I mean, he's got Golos on turn. This is his 3rd Golos activation. He's pulling fucking insane amount of cards off his deck. He has the Field of the Dead in play. I mean, this is just nasty. Okay. Field Plains Thragtusk. Okay. Three lands is good for him, man. Yeah, worm 1 time, right? I forgot even worm's there. We can draw a lot for him this turn, though. So let's see what the pressure's like. Okay. Two turns off casting it. I'm not sure we're going to get 2 turns here. Helps for getting 2 turns. All right. Kind of need land here. I can't really tap lands with Gary in play. So I think this is just sack the Scrap Heat Scrounger. Okay. See him zombie? He's a zombie too. Oh, we do have 7. Ah, I miscounted by 1. Okay. So we had 6 this turn. I think we're still okay on the board. We're going to start taking a lot of damage, but we have drain effects to kill him. Do I want to try to get anything else on board first? Can I? Not really. So we want to tap and draw. Get deeper. Okay. All right. We're good. Go ahead, opponent. B2B Next turn, Blood for Bones to Gary. Yeah, we actually could have gotten 3 of 4. I should have looked at see if we could have got 4 of 4. It's a good call. I think we're going to get attacked this turn. Did you just draw a Banefire? It's a 0-point Banefire because he took it off Golos. That's a nice thing for us. It's weird to see 2 X spells in his deck with Golos, I guess. Okay. Gotta be worried about his alphas going. Gary's a great draw there because of so much life gain. Sovereign's terrifying. Resolve. Okay. Scary. Is he gonna gain life, you think, with this?
I can escape my past no more than I can escape my shadow.
Scary. Okay.
I believe we will find a better tomorrow.
It's had very high value cards, huh? I like how passive he is. It's so nice for me, though. Just fucking pressuring with these tokens, bro. Alright, we have 3 zombies. We don't want to sack those. I can sack these. Are we just out of turns to look for this? It's a lot of devotion in the graveyard, though. Okay. Don't care about the damage. Let's draw. Can't play that and play the next thing, which sucks. I don't think I have any other draw available here. This is probably our last turn to hit it. We have 2 draws here. Fuck off, game. Alright, if we tap down to draw here, he'll figure out he can attack, which is really bad news. But I don't have the mana to cast it and something else. So I think we're finally in the position where we're forced to look for this, right? He's got another 6 guaranteed in the air. Removes another blocker. I don't really survive this attack. Maybe if I miss, I can drain with Gary for some more for some reason. But I think we have to look. We can't wait. We'd kill him if we draw it. Can't you... A Yara Blood. What does a Yara Blood do for me? Chat, it's not... Gary doesn't kill him anymore. He's at fucking 10... Oh, I see. You mean this? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, we gotta think here. We have 5, 6, 7 mana. I've been thinking our only outs, what are guys? So we have 7 mana, we can cast these 2. It's not enough damage though, right? So we sack Gary, recur Gary. Entering the battlefield. Does this gain us a life when we do it? So it brings him to 9. Sack Gary and recur Gary. So then we're gonna get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, I think it might be exacties. Okay. I guess it's better than losing. Okay. Okay. I was thinking our only out was Worm, but this actually does it. Okay, crazy game. Crazy game. I mean, our opponent gave us all the time in the world. If we hit Massacre Worm there, that would have been a huge blowout, right? We would have eaten like 15 fucking creatures, and each of them would have pinged him for 2, which would have made me very, very excited. But our opponent just refused to attack us because he thought he had the game locked up, so he didn't feel like he had to do the math to figure out how to attack us, which was really nice. So he gave us a shit ton of extra draws. I can't do that shit. All of my stuff requires tapping or sacrificing creatures, which means I have to have creatures on the board to do it. So if he's pressuring me, I can't keep using the priest. If he's pressuring me, I can't keep using the tap zombies to draw cards. So there we go. That was at least 3, if not 4 Golos activations. Thank you, Niablis, for the 33 months. Welcome back, man. Close game. Close game. Didn't have great attacks. They're never great attacks, but he can pressure through. He's got infinite zombies because he's generating at least 1 land drop per turn, plus the Golos activation for 1 million more fucking creatures, plus the Sky Sovereign. You know, it's just like nasty. How did our giant get removed? He played Sky Sovereign and killed our giant. I think that's a really wild game. I don't know if I would have seen the Ayara out or not. I might have just drawn with the zombies. It's kind of weird math. I like Ayara has a bunch of text on it. I haven't played it very much. I played it like once or twice. I kind of forgot that it pinged on its own entry. Gary has won us, 3 games in a row. I was really considering cutting him, so it's kind of been nice. 2 lifelinkers is tricky for sure, but if he trades 2 2/2s and then gets in for 10 damage, it's definitely worth it. He was way too passive. I don't know exactly what his attacks were each round, but I guarantee they were too passive. Top deck Ayara. We drew, what, 4 cards last turn? I don't know if you can call it a top deck. We drew off of Priest, off of Village Rites, off of Priest again, and then 2 tapped sets of 3 zombies for drawing. Because we're digging specifically for fucking answers to that shit. I actually think that Gary was the better top deck the turn before. Anyway. Two-lander going first again. It was pretty standard for Magic. Alright, Nobu. Hey, glad to see you're watching. Normally you say hi and I never hear from you again. Alright, give me 3 drop. Give me 3. Give me 3rd mana here, team. Okay. Opponent, pass. Pass with 2 mana, have no removals. Could use a free roll after that last game. Yeah, we were digging for... Ooh, that's a free roll. And our land. I like it. I don't think he blocks with Blood Artist, but he might. I'm going to cast a Yara here regardless, right? I think he just takes 3 and calls it a day. And then we get 1 more off the ETB here, and we get to grow our knight. Feels pretty nice. A 1, 2, 3 with all premium black drops. If I'm our opponent, I'm annoyed. Or maybe not that annoyed. Alright, double drain here. Actually, a nice draw. Lets me attack into this. Knight already pumps. Actually, there's almost no value here, right? I just swing with Knight and Gifted and cast Woe Strider. Okay. I'm a little worried about Black Sweeper. It seems weird for him to play Black Sweeper in the deck that he's showing me he has, but it would blow us the fuck up right now. Just Poison the Cup. It's the only card you ever play in this format like that. It's 2 mana on my turn, so equipping gets nastier. I think this is worth a scry, like a land. I don't have Priest out here. I can't sack black creatures to a Yara. I don't want to sack my Woe Strider. Okay. Give the goat the axe. I'm not sure a 2/1 helps here. It doesn't unlock an attack. I have the same attack off a Yara. No, I think I want the scry. Oh, it gives him 1 life. Still think I'm doing it. Okay. Yeah, kind of want that. Though I don't need it for this turn, and Blood for Bones doesn't actually fucking unlock anything. Do I not want land? Maybe I should have had an idea of what I wanted to scry into before I forced the scry. Maybe. Okay. Can't decide if that's too greedy or not. It's 1 turn thinking as opposed to 2 turn thinking here, right? Okay, that's where it pays us off, is when we got like a bunch of fucking lands at the top. Alright. So he's incentivized to kill a Yara, right? So I don't want to overly incentivize that. So what I want to do is spread out some threats to make it really annoying. So he's probably killing Knight here, right? I can already attack with Aetherborn. I can already attack with this. So I lose 2 damage or 2 lifelink off that. But I can threaten to pump. But pumping's irrelevant here because he doesn't have anything that challenges that and he can blow it up. I think this is Bone Splitter. Play it on Aetherborn. As the least valuable target for him to poison the cup on. And then I think it's swing all except Ayara rather. I can't pump the Knight right now, which is kind of annoying. But everything else is pretty good. I'm gonna sack in response. So he doesn't get the scry, I guess. Okay. Do we want 5th land here if it's available? I think that's good enough. Wish I had my goat back. Alright. The Foretell card is removable always, because there's only 1 black Foretell in this fucking format that does anything. It might only be 1 period, but this is the only one that's mono black plays. Nice. Yeah, no great blocks, huh, buddy? Blink the lifelink and draw. That's a reasonable set of blocks. So we only get in for 3 instead of 4 here, so our Knight doesn't grow. But I do remove both his creatures off the board. Safely get my dude in the graveyard. Wish I could cast this turn. Okay. Alright, Priest might be too greedy here without some tokens to help it, but I've got Blood for Bones to get shipped back in a minute. It's definitely annoying. Definitely annoying. I could just keep Priest to discard, I guess. I wasn't really planning on that. Kind of need a sack. It's 5 to regrow my guy. He's a couple turns away from getting his guy back. We can get him for, what is this pumped into? It's 3 to make it 6 is 8. Can get him down to 3. Is that good enough? Probably. Is it better than anything else here? We might be able to get reach. Depends how much life gain he gets out of his recursion. I hate investing more in this because it's slow, but I think it's better than the rest of my hand here. You know what this means? We want Gary to carry us home. Can I discard Priest? I'm not going to have 6 mana. I don't want to cast that. I think Priest is fine. Okay. Icy to tap our 1 guy. Annoying. So if I sack the knight to rebirth a Yara. We get him for 1. Can put anything we want back in our hand, including knight, and recast it. Drain for 2, put him at 1 with 2 creatures on board. That seems okay. Oh, I don't... Yeah, I have mana for that. Okay. So we go combat. He taps it. We say, shucks, that's really unfortunate that we were forced to have our creature tapped. He doesn't tap it and we kill him. I'm okay with that option too. Is he getting with rebirth? His own Ayara probably. Okay, then we go blood. Oh, I don't have 5. I've got fucking 4. Blood is 4. So I miscounted my plays there. Is it better to run out Rider here? I feel like kind of like a Rider to remove his stuff next turn is important. All right, so I mean, there's no ETB destroy shit. There's a Blood Artist for drains, and there's that. We're gonna cast this. I'm not sure this is right or not, but we're going to. We're gonna rebirth our Ayara. And put Knight in hand. Okay. Tapped lifelinker or lifelinker who can't do anything this turn is absolutely okay by me. I would have thought for sure he put his Ayara back in there, but no. So we have cast triggers to kill him now and he's not healing. I think that's a mistake on his part. I assumed he was going to cast some creatures and try to get out of reach of our drain. I like the lifelinking option, but it just doesn't help him in time. I mean, it's bad if I give him another turn, but I can do 2 damage from my hand, right? I've got 2 spells, both black creatures. That card doesn't get him anywhere. Okay, he's chosen to die. That is your option, opponent. All right. This is not a black creature. That is, though. Alright, tight game. Little mana screwed that game. I'm not sure if we should have scryed the 1 to the bottom. I'm not sure if we should have kept the priest. I clearly miscounted with the blood. I thought I was going to get 1 more drain off there and leave him at 1, which would have been better. I think our opponent chose the wrong card. I think he could have stabilized off of Yara. But there we go. All right. Decisions, decisions, decisions. So many decisions. Fun one. He could have tapped the land. Yeah, he could have. All right. What is this? This, I think, is a hand I play this out. It feels fucking bad. I guess I could wait till turn 3. So I've got 2 5-drops. We just don't have a lot of this removal. I think I play this out. Some of the time we flood and we get punished for it. But here I actually have 4 of my 5 lands and 5 drops to play. I'm hoping to draw 2 or 3 drops. I guess there could have been there's a second decision. Even if I would think I have to play this as a land, there's a decision in which I wait till the next turn. So I play out 2 swamps here, then turn 3 since I haven't drawn a card. But I can hit a 3-drop still as well. So I don't know. Clunky to have to make the decision. But the free turn to play it's on 1. Although, clearly there's more free turns if I have no plays. What is this deck blowing? Rewarded for our decision. Feels good. Okay. Explain why I cast it as a land. Because I have 2 5-drops and nothing else to do. I want to get my guy on 2 and I want to hit my 5 drops and there's a chance I draw action in between, which is what we've done. Okay. Do I need to scry here? Yeah, I want a playable card next turn. It's actually okay. I can attack into that. It's not great though. It's okay. It's probably better than another land here. Okay. Open mana. The curve, the tempo is the reason to play it if it's not clear. Can exile my Woe Strider, bring back Challenger? I think he's attacking me. No attacks, so Scrounger's a little less good here. It's kind of an unpleasant one to exile. How close am I to rebirthing it? It's 4 other counters and we're at 1. Rip, buddy. Get punished for that too, but decisions. Alright, so we swing. Lamia. We tutor a card into our graveyard. Which card is it? We do not have rebirth effects right now. I'm very likely exiling the card I put in. Oh, we do have a rebirth effect. We have Shade and Dread Wanderer. It's one of them. It's probably Shade here. We have a turn for next round. Okay. Kind of forgot we had Shade in this deck. I have Necro in hand. I do have Necro in hand, but I'm not convinced we're going to get that off. And right now I just need to pressure, right? It's fucking irritating. Alright. Land drop. Shade. Pass. Necro has Summoning Sickness, so it's some of the time there I put my best card in the deck, like Obliterator, and it just gets removed. I don't get it back. I think it's okay for a value card. Now, granted, I didn't have Bontu on there, so I'm a little less excited. Oh, and that card also counters that, though I didn't notice that. I don't think we made that as a decision. Yeah. Okay. He should have done that in the other order. Maybe he didn't want Gary in the graveyard, for example. Maybe Shade's not good enough because it doesn't challenge Bontu. It's too bad. It would have been a nice Gary. So drawing land here is fucking toxic. Alright. Didn't want to put a creature so I get a Scrounger back. Yeah, that makes sense too. I mean, alright. Your 4 mana deck with fucking 2-for-1ing off the dude, the hand destroy. I mean, it's just like, give me a break, asshole.
My guy survives the sweeper. I have got Eternal Bontu, and you have nothing. My last card is Poison the Cup that I could have played on your turn for a free scry, but didn't. Okay. I have hate for your graveyard. I'm kind of annoyed with this guy already. This is blue-black control with all of his answers matching up nicely to our threats. Okay. Too bad. Bontu and Shade, or Obosh and Shade. Maybe it should have been Shade this turn and dropped Obosh last turn. I kind of just annoyingly watched that. Yeah. Actually should have been. This could have been Shade on the board, although he just foretells that. I can't attack. I play Obosh, then attack, and then he blocks. It doesn't actually make any difference with that card as his last card. Did he scry anyways? He didn't foretell this, right? Okay. Really good draw, the Bone Splitter Axe here. He draws fucking 7 cards though. I'm gonna be really annoyed. Refill his hand off that. Alright. I I need you to blank a little bit, opponent. That's a draw card. It's not a blank. You just drew a card that draws you cards with exact number of permanents for your fucking draw engine. Fuck off. It's a good one. I think he blocks here. He's setting up like he's gonna block. I don't think I can attack here. I think it's this card into play, Gary into hand, and put the 2/1 into my graveyard that I can recur. I think it maybe is Obosh in hand, so I can attack with my 5 drops. That might be better. Okay. Jedi Kiwi, thanks for the 11 months. Welcome back. All right, so we're putting Dreadwander into the graveyard. Playing Dreadwander. Okay. All right. Who's Gary? This dude. The Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Dude, top decks Massacre Worm. We're actually fucking dying. I don't know, man. We haven't drawn a Massacre Worm in our playthrough, right? So far. This is a ticking time bomb of fucking negativity as well. I counter. No counter. Okay. Give me that sweet life linking. Give it to me. Thank you. I don't like full mana open. So I've got 6, 7, 8 mana right now. I can recast Shade for 5 and then Dreadwander, but then I can't equip Bone Splitter. I can put Bone Splitter on Knight and it trades for God Eternal, but he draws it back next turn. I force damage through there. I'm getting in 6 regardless if I attack like that, but it takes my mana. I'm at 17. Shade is another threat is nice. He's block Obosh annoyingly. I could just not attack here, but it gives him the ability to play his Midnight Clock for free, which I don't like. Double pumping Knight to kill him, I guess if he doesn't block is interesting. So just straight up double pump Knight to trade with God. It's good if he has no removal. It's bad otherwise. 6, 7, 8, right? And he's 6 to double pump. All right. Maybe there's this where I sometimes nearly kill him. So blowout here is instant speed removal if I invest in the Knight. That seems like he's got instant speed removal. Because otherwise he's dead, right? So we'll invest 3. Oh, he just countered the activation. Okay. So now is this good enough? So I either get in for 4 twice, for 8, put him to 7. Is that better or worse than developing the Dreadwander on this board? It's better. Second cycle. We'll see. Deliberately don't play land because we want Shade back. Opponent had a card that kept his God Eternal as a player in this game, which sucks. Draws 8 cards. Is that 5? We don't have a rebirth effect for Gary anymore. I think we have 2 in our deck, and they're both in the graveyard right now. His threats have matched up. His removal has matched up so well for our fucking threats. It's really, really frustrating. He has 1,000,000 mana and 1,000,000 cards. I mean, Obstructionist was less bad than removal, but it was still pretty bad. Really would have been nice if he hadn't had an answer for our turn, so we would have had to make some hard choices as opposed to still keeping all of his threats. I redraw Languish. Fuck off. I cycle my hand to get a sweeper. Is there any way this resolves? We have 8. I could cast Shade, Wonder, and this, but Wonder and this don't do anything. I could cast Little Shade in this. Might be okay. Is Little Shade good enough to pressure? I mean, it gets blocked by God Eternal, but so what? Yeah. No, he doesn't have 2 Languishes. He shuffled his graveyard into his library and replayed it. I think this just gets countered every time I play it is the problem. So... he hasn't played a counterspell yet because he's had exact answers to everything we had, but now that he has 7 cards in hand, I'm sure he's drawn one. No. It's surprising in many ways. How many lands do we give up? 2? I block your card draw. Okay. Is getting back a 2/2 shade, a 3/1 shade worth it? Yeah, it is. Okay. No, I pointed at that one. When you cast it on a one I don't point it on, that doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form. I pointed to God Eternal, man. Give me my guy here. I'm really annoyed about that. I fucking pointed to my god and I don't have it. Oh, Massacre Worm that he redrew again. I mean, he just gets the hand beat us the first time. He just gets to play the hand twice. To Ashiok for removal on my graveyard. Fuck off, man. This creature has Menace for all the good it's gonna do us here. This was removal, we win the game, even from this step. If this was our Murderous... I guess Murderous Rider was in graveyard? No, he wasn't in graveyard yet. Yeah, I'm pretty tired of this guy too, quite honestly. I don't get my Shade back. Like, there's the same hand. He drew the same hand. He used this card before cycling his deck. Used that card before cycling his deck. Used that card before cycling his deck. Like... Okay. It's one of these cards where just like everything you're... Okay, he just milled our Murderous Rider and our Intervention. Both of which are... If he doesn't have mana, he's not casting anything. Both of which are win cons on this board. So... We just die to the next Ashiok mill. Maybe he won't know that we can't... Maybe he won't know that he can block. Alright, we can't win this game. Ever. So we're 100% clear on that. So I think with our plays being the Obosh versus the Gary, I think Obosh was better for us. I think
Do we have a 1 mana card in our deck, or 1 card in our deck that can do 5 damage to his face? Oh, we drew our Massacre Worm. Nice. Good timing. First time. All right. Such a stupid game, that. Like, there's no redeeming features of that game. We made lots of decisions, but none of our decisions mattered whatsoever. Feels bad. Okay. Sure. Yeah, we just got cheated out of the game, though. Put a lot of work into winning really difficult board states in the last couple games. This guy just has every card down to the single last card, counters exactly what we're doing on a 1-to-1 basis, and he just has them. Then he shuffles them to his fucking deck and redraws the same exact number in the exact order that counters our deck again. His hand is hard to keep. We've got a 2-drop. I guess. We hope to draw a 3 here. So. That's bad news. Obliterator into the graveyard. We haven't drawn our Obliterator in a way that we can play it. We haven't drawn our Massacre Worm yet. We played 6 games so far. This is game 7. He did mill 2 recursive cards, which is kind of nice. I think Shade is actually better than our other options here too. Oh wait, I thought he milled Shade. He milled Woe Strider. Never mind, not Shade. Okay. I mean, this attacker's okay. It's just less good than Shade is. Just milled our Massacre Worm. Maybe Blood for Bone's going to be a surprise in about 1 second here when I drop that onto their board. Guess it's 1 more turn, huh? Do I have a 3-drop this turn? I don't. So is this just... I mean, I have up to 4, but I'm not up to 5. I almost don't want to do that because I want to rebirth the Massacre Worm. But I don't want him having 2 extra mana next turn. It's too much. We have 4 recursive creatures. We've hit 1 so far. Still got 2 mana up for a counter spell. I just tapped out. Nice. Okay. So do we put the worm or do we put the 5/5? He's got his removal is not going to be creature based. Do I do any of these things? Do I even rebirth the worm onto this battlefield? It's just a 6/5. It didn't fucking do anything on rebirth. I think I might actually wait for that. I could just remove his mill card. Down to 20 cards right now. If he slams Ashiok, we lose. Keep removal for Crab. Yeah, we did keep the removal for Crab. He's at a lot of health though. I hate that we drew this card, right? Like it's one of our recursive cards. It's just so much crab value. Turn 1 crab mills all of our cards, but doesn't mill the threats, doesn't mill the Scrounger or the other one. Yeah, right into patient fucking rebuilding. I knew that was coming. We just drew our other card here too. So painful. Missed land. Which I'm sure we'll draw next turn to draw him plenty of cards. Land, I'm sure. Nope, triple. Okay, 1 card for him. Do we draw off this for a card draw? I'm at 16. I'm not sure I can afford to card draw. This is 6 power on the board though. He's at 4 lands. He hasn't done anything. He can definitely run sweepers in this deck. 5 lands is one of the big ones. Gonti. There's another card from my deck. I'm tired of our opponent. I'm tired of the last 2 opponents. It's been really good for them, huh?
Does that blank anything? It blanks the Dread Wanderer. Do I need to draw here for some options? Good post combat. Get the worm on board as a big beater that kills his Gonti. I love this card, but I don't want to play it versus black mana. I want to play it versus other colors besides black mana. Interesting. I don't think I have a choice anymore, unfortunately. I need a threat that can potentially kill him next turn. I didn't draw a land, so I can't play out my other ones. Is there a world in which I get that for another point of drain? I get 1 to play and 1 to hand. None of these ETB. It's kind of wanted to... If I could just slam Gary this turn and then set up for Blood for Bones next turn. These foretold cards, it doesn't matter. I don't have time to play around things, right? We're at fucking 14 cards. How do we play around this? The drain off Obliterator is only +1. So if I play Obliterator for the drain effect compared to Worm, I lose 2 power and gain 1 drain, which means I lose 1 damage. I mean, this way dude, the problem is I can't threaten to do this at instant speed. Alright, fine. Obliterator is 4 more drain for Gary. Worm is 3 more drain. So, again, do math. 3 lands. He takes an extra turn, mills me for 3 lands, and now the Trampler not on the board matters, and the Worm not in the hand matters. It sucks. So the comparison between these, again, is there's 1 more black symbol on Obliterator, so Gary drains for 1 more, but there's 1 less power here. I guess it's actually, I was thinking 2 less power, so maybe it's equal. I hate that this guy thinks he can play those 2 cards in the same deck. Dude, we never get to land 5 right now. Okay. Maybe he won't block. So we never got to rebirth Woe Strider because of this.
It's just been, this has been like one of these, again, we're going to lose 2 games back to back with just like perfect answers from our fucking opponent. It's so frustrating, man. This deck is good. This resolves, he dies, but I'm sure there's counter magic. I'm sure there's fucking counter magic. Counter. A counter. No, Shock Typhoon doesn't go that. No fucking way. The greedy little shit didn't block the 1 trample damage. Seriously. That's exciting. Exciting to see him punt there. Because his shit lined up so well for what we did, including keeping us on 4 lands for the entire game because of mill, from just random mill RNG, so I never get land 5. Like, that is probably the saltiest win I'm ever going to have in my, I don't know, not ever in my life. We've had some pretty salty wins, and that was definitely one of them. He got 5 mills off of the crab, followed by immediately slamming that, playing cards like Patient Rebuilding in the same deck as that 7 mana enchantment that makes you sack creatures. Like, I hate everything about those decisions. It just seems so bad. You remember the dude I milled for 5 rounds who just played out his hand on curve and played out like a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? I remember that too. Gary steals another victory. Yeah, he's been really good in this deck. Really good. I don't know if I should have rebirthed the Worm or should have rebirthed the Phyrexian Trampler. I guess it's probably the Trampler. I can't believe that last spell resolved. Alright, we've got another hard decision here. We're going second. We don't have any plays till turn 3. I'm sure this is going to be our first aggro opponent of the run here. Yeah. And good cards versus aggro. Kept the Worm instead of the Trample doing. I couldn't ever resolve the Worm. The Trampler costs 1 less. The Worm is 4. The Worm is 6. The Trampler is 4. So like, yes, if I could have drawn 2 lands before I got milled out. I mean, there was a decision that entire game too, is whether I ever wanted to Village Rites for draw 2. Alright, that would have been useful on any turn before now. Do we prefer a Yaya on the board? A Yara on the board? Or Rider as a removal? I guess we prefer this. Opponent seems to be missing green mana. So. If he had just blocked with his fucking 1/1 and sacked 1 more land, he would have survived the Gary. Like, when you're that far ahead, you should be looking at what outs your opponents have. We're gonna really resolve a Obliterator on turn. That's nice. What is this one? Is this Force Spike? I haven't been Force Spike this set yet. Okay. The further ahead, the more you can play around is the rule for that. The general heuristic anyways, right? Like if you win 99% of the time there, you play around that 1% to make it 100% of the time as much as you can, right?